Hey, you can run into a storm while doing right. Most of the time, we think because we are living righteous, we are living holy, we are seeking God consistently, we are spending time with Him, we are building a relationship with Him. We think that we do not go through things. Storms are essential for spiritual growth. Storms are essential for discipline. Storms are essential for self-improvement. Now, I know out of 3 of these situations, we are at least going through one. We are entering a storm, or we just got out of a storm, or you are in a storm right now. But whatever situation it is, we must know that God is in control. I'm going to read Mark chapter 4, I'm going to start at verse 35 through 41. But before I get into it, I want y'all to know that there's a purpose in the storm. And I'm reading from NIV. There's a purpose in the storm. It says, on that day, when evening had come, he said to them, let us go across to the other side. And leaving the crowd, they took him with them in the boat, just as he was, and other boats were with him. And a great windstorm arose. And the waves were breaking into the boat. Listen closely. So that the boat was already filling. But he was in the stern, asleep on a cushion. Jesus was asleep on the cushion. He was asleep while the boat was in a windstorm. Jesus and his disciples were on the sea. As it said, they were on the sea and they was on the boat. But while they was on the boat, the windstorm came onto the boat and the boat began to fill. But Jesus was asleep on a cushion. So that means he's at peace. Whew. And they woke him and said to him, Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing? That's doubt, right? That's doubt. Now you're doubting Jesus. You're on the boat with Jesus in the storm, and you woke Jesus up and said, Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing? That is doubt. See, and that's what we do. Speaking for me, I know that's what I did, right? My eyes were so focused on the situation, but I wasn't focused on our Savior. See, when you focus too much on the storm, you miss the Savior. And he awoke and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. He said to them, Why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith? And they were filled with great fear and said to one another, Who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him. See, when we are in the storm, we have to be like the disciples. And what I mean by that is they, right? It says, they woke him and said to him, basically, they cried out to Jesus. And that's what we have to do. In the midst of the storm, we have to cry out. Then once we cry out to him, we awake Jesus. See, there is a purpose in a storm. God allows storms to come into our life. He allowed the storm to come into David's life. He allowed the storm to come in Job's life. Job had everything. And Satan went to Jesus. He said, listen, I guarantee you, if you take away everything from Job, this man will not have that same love that he has for you right now. Jesus was like, what? I'm paraphrasing. Jesus was like, what? If I take away everything from Job, I guarantee you he will still love me. He will still worship me. He will still cry out to me. He will still love me. Y'all need to read Job. God took away everything from Job. And Job still loved Jesus in the storm. He still worshiped Jesus in the storm. He still cried out to Jesus. And when the storm was over, Jesus gave him 30-fold, 60-fold. Jesus gave him 10 times more than what he had. That's one thing about God's math. Math does not add, it multiplies. So there is a purpose in the storm. We all are going through storms. We are facing storms. I know I'm facing a storm. I'm in a storm right now. Things have not been going my way. Left and right, it's always something concerning my business, concerning relationships, friendships. It's all over the place, right? But it's a purpose in the storm. My faith is still high. My love is still focused on God. Nothing changes, even when things are going hard. Don't take your eyes off God. Don't get so focused on the situation and you miss the relationship with God. This is what he wants. It's discipline. It's growth. We're going to read Mark 4:35. Mark 4:35. I just read that. I mean, my bad, y'all. Hebrews. We're going to read Hebrew. Hebrew 11:47. We're going to read Hebrew. We're going to read Hebrew. Okay, we're going to read Hebrew chapter 12. Listen. It says, it says, Hebrew chapter 12, verse 11. It says, for the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant. So the storm that we are in, it seems painful rather than pleasant. And it goes on and says, but later. So God is telling me the storm has to come to an end. The storm has to come to an end. It says, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. That's it. The windstorm is developing you. It is building your faith. It is building your spiritual growth. It is helping you become the best version of yourself. If you just cry out to God, cry out to God, cry out to God, cast all your anxieties on him, he will wake up in the same way he told that sea in the waves and said, peace, be still. That's the same thing he will say to the storm that you are in. Peace, be still. The same way. There is a purpose in the storm. There is a purpose in the storm. There is a purpose in the storm. Y'all be blessed.